To the adoring public, Lee Majors and Farrah Fawcett were the very definition of a Hollywood power couple. Their union represented a perfect alchemy of rugged masculinity and sun-kissed beauty, a pairing so ideal it seemed scripted by the Dream Factory itself. When they walked side by side, they weren't just two stars, they were a single brilliant constellation. Yet, behind the glittering veneer of premieres and photo shoots festered a devastating reality, one where the most intimate betrayals unfolded not in public, but in the profound privacy of their shared home. The most painful truth for Lee was not discovered in a tabloid, but in the stillness of the night, listening to his wife whisper the name of another man in her sleep, the name of his own closest friend. When the affair finally became public knowledge, Lee's reaction was not one of dramatic confrontation, but of quiet, absolute finality. He packed a single suitcase, a stark contrast to the sprawling life they had built, and walked away without a backward glance. Though Farrah would later, filled with regret, try to bridge the chasm she had created, for Lee, the door to their marriage was permanently closed. Their romance had begun as a classic Hollywood fairy tale. Lee, already a rising star thanks to his stoic role in The $6 Million Man, embodied a strong, silent type of American hero. He was captivated by Farrah's effervescent energy, a radiant force of nature from Texas whose ambition was as luminous as her now iconic smile. Their connection was immediate and intense. He was her anchor, she was his sunshine. Their 1973 wedding was a lavish, hopeful affair where they pledged to be each other's protector against any storm. For a time, it seemed their love was as unbreakable as Lee's on-screen bionic limbs. However, the very fame they had both coveted became the corrosive element that ate away at their foundation. Lee's success exploded into a global phenomenon. He was no longer just an actor, but a brand. His image plastered on everything from action figures to lunchboxes. Simultaneously, Farrah's career achieved escape velocity. Her starring role in Charlie's Angels and the unprecedented success of her red swimsuit poster, which sold in the millions, ignited a cultural firestorm dubbed Farrah Fever. She was suddenly her own empire, a superstar in her own right. Their parallel ascensions created divergent orbits. Their once shared life was now dictated by conflicting shooting schedules, press junkets, and personal appearances. The man who once waited for her after work now sat alone in their mansion, while the woman who cherished his steady presence now learned to navigate a world that celebrated her independence. Lee once poignantly confessed that they were lucky to see each other 2 days a week, and even then the connection felt strained and hollow, the silence between them louder than any applause. The devastating rupture came via the cold, impersonal print of the Los Angeles Times. The front-page headline, "Brazen Affair, Farrah Fawcett and Ryan O'Neal," was a public execution of their private life. For Lee, the very air left his lungs. The accompanying photograph was a brutal confirmation. His wife and his best friend, a dual betrayal played out for the entire world to see. The private humiliation was now a public spectacle. In that moment of shattering pain, his decision was instant and absolute. He demanded a divorce, not in a heated argument with Farrah, but in a trembling phone call to his manager. His response to the world was a profound and powerful silence. He withdrew completely, canceling interviews and refusing to speak her name ever again. It was a silence that spoke volumes of his pain and his pride. In the years that followed, their lives charted dramatically different courses. Farrah, now branded in the media as the woman who betrayed America's hero, found her career stalling. Her subsequent relationship with Ryan O'Neal was a decades-long roller coaster of passion, jealousy, and public turmoil, a stark contrast to the stability she had known with Lee. In moments of quiet despair, she was haunted by the memory of Lee's steadfast devotion, realizing too late the value of what she had lost. She reached out, her voice trembling on the other end of a phone line, but was met only with the unwavering silence of a man who had already said his final goodbye. Lee, conversely, sought solace in obscurity. He left the Hollywood scene, remarried, and built a quiet, peaceful life far from the flashbulbs and fame that had defined his past. Yet those who knew him well could perceive a permanent scar, a tender spot that never fully healed. He had moved on, but he had not forgotten. The final, poignant chapter of their story was written in the same quiet key. When Farrah was diagnosed with a rare and aggressive cancer in 2006, Lee followed her battle from a respectful distance but made no contact. Upon her death in 2009, as the world mourned the loss of an icon, and Ryan O'Neal wept openly for the cameras, Lee Majors' tribute was characteristically reserved, a brief formal statement expressing that Farrah was a special woman and wishing her peace. He did not attend the funeral. This was not an act of coldness, but the final expression of a profound and complex grief. His decades of silence were not fueled by hatred, but were a sacred vow to preserve the memory of the pure, beautiful love they had once shared before fame and infidelity had shattered it forever. Their story endures as a quintessential Hollywood tragedy, a cautionary tale that the brightest spotlights often cast the darkest shadows, and that the very adulation that builds a dream can also be the force that mercilessly breaks it.